Welcome to all of our Pinot Noir Club members. We're going to be doing a virtual tasting today of 4 vintages of Bryce Vineyard. We're doing these virtual tastings in response to the COVID epidemic. We would love to have you here with us so we could do this face to face and be able to share that way, but unfortunately we can't. So we're doing the best alternative. I'm here today with Joylin Kent. Joylin is our wine club director, and among many other roles that she plays for our company, and has for 8 years now. We just can't live without her. Just simply put. Yeah, there you go. And so it's an amazing site, Bryce Vineyard. This is in the Ribbon Ridge area. Back in the day, many years ago, we were doing some Ribbon Ridge fruit with Beaufrere. This was before Beaufrere had a winery. They started off just as a vineyard. And so we did make wine from Beaufrere. Mike came to Magatzel at that time and thought he would only be a farmer initially, and didn't want to get into the business of making wine. But he quickly found out that there wasn't a lot of money to be made in simply growing grapes, and so he came after a couple of years. He said, I'm going to need to use my fruit to make wine. And so we didn't have access to Ribbon Ridge fruit for some years. Years later, Marcia Bagnall, who owned this vineyard with her husband Bryce, called me, and her husband Bryce had been a winemaker for many years in our industry with Witness Tree Winery down in the Eola Hills. A wonderful person, and he unfortunately contracted ALS, and but they had just prior they had purchased their own property, the 10 acres or so in Ribbon Ridge, had planted a small vineyard, 5-acre site, and which it still is, it's still the same size, very small site, and to make their own wine, and they created their own label, and they had quite a great following. Actually, they're both terrific people, and everybody who met them kind of fell in love with them and purchased their wine to support them, and it was a great site as well. But unfortunately, Bryce's health went downhill, and they ended up, their focus was on him, obviously, as it should have been for his health. And over the years, Marcia decided once Bryce had passed, she decided to lease out the site, and she gave me a call. It was a wonderful phone call, actually, to get from her. We love that area. We love Ribbon Ridge. It's very unique in its qualities, and so we had another opportunity to work with the site from that region. So we were eager to do that. The label, if I can talk about the label for a second. So the label, if you can see it, is a depiction by David Berkman, who is our label artist. This is actually this is a wax carving. And Joylin, can you grab one of the originals? Not this one, but another original, so people can see it. So Joylin is showing you an actual original piece that David did, showing the Bonnie Jean site. And as you can see, this is all 100% beeswax, laid into wood fiber, and then it's carved. And so these are the carving is done by David to reveal different colors at different depths. It's a beautiful process, really unique. So thank you. And so that's what this is too. But of course, we're trying to portray that depth on paper. Not easy to do. But again, this is David Berkman's work. And what this shows is a depiction of essentially where Bryce got to as when his health was failing. He still loved being in the vineyard so much, that he would go out, he would take a picking bucket, and then all the buckets, of course, had the Bryce Vineyard name on it. He would take that bucket, place it in front of a vine, upside down, rest on it, he would sit on it, and then do whatever practice, whether it was pruning or thinning or shoot positioning or whatever it was that the time of year dictated. And once he had finished with a vine, got his strength back, he would move that pail to the next vine and sit down again. And so that's what this is a depiction of, and you know, all credit to Bryce and his valiant effort to, you know, to live life well throughout that process. You know, what a difficult thing, but we are, you know, we wanted to honor him, you know, through that label, and we hope that we have. So the Bryce is this is a unique opportunity.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah, to do a vertical.
Now, what years are we doing?
So we're doing the 2014, 2015, 2016, and the 2017 Bryce Vineyard, but the 17 is an exclusive bottling that Ken has bottled for club members only, so it's 100% Pommard clone.
Okay, and that would be the only difference?
That's the only difference.
Otherwise, the other three, 14, 15, 16, are blends of the various clones on the site?
Yes.
Okay, so we have Wadensville, 115, and Pommard. Okay, so there's the three. And so yeah, no, that's great. And so, yeah, thank you for that. So the 17 is unique. That's the only time that we've taken a single clone from Bryce that I'm aware of, you know, and bottled it in this way. So it's kind of fun.
I think that was the first vintage that you've done that way.
Yeah, great. Okay, awesome.
Well, should we taste it?
Please. So we're going to start from youngest and then go to oldest. Wow, you can see, look at the quality. It's purple. It's, you know, the youthful colors, those vibrant reds when they're so young. It's almost blue. It's a blue red instead of a brick red or what have you. Thank you.
So Pommard clone, can you kind of tell us about the Pommard?
Yeah, thank you. So Pommard was one of the first two clones in Oregon. David Lett brought Wadensville, which was a Swiss clone, originally Burgundy, but it was brought from Colmar, you know, in Switzerland. And Pommard, David planted in 1966. He nurseryed the vines. When I talked with David years ago, before he passed, he told me that he nurseryed the vines in 65 and then planted in 66, which is not what the history books say. When you look at all the history books about our industry, almost everything says that our industry started in 65. The modern Pinot Noir industry in the northern Willamette, not so. That is incorrect. It is incorrect, and David would tell you that. He started in 66. 2 years later, Dick Erath came, and he brought Pommard.
Okay.
So he brought certified Pommard and to our region. And it was incredibly fortunate that those two gentlemen brought those two clones because they really served as the foundation for the early success of the Oregon wine industry, because I think they were clones that were well met,
right,
if you will. Wadensville was more of the soprano. It was ethereal, all high notes, just incredibly pretty, incredibly seductive, complex, but not big, not a big one, not deeply colored necessarily, not deeply not structured, not tannic, but it was incredibly complex and beautiful, and mostly soprano. Mostly soprano. Exactly. Totally, you can hit that high C. I know you can. I've heard you. Give her a chance. So yeah, she'll go for it. But so Pommard was more of the base, the basso. It brought it was a heavy wine. It had more tannin. It had it was darker, more muscular. You know, together, those two clones were again well met. They complemented each other tremendously. So you had one providing the high notes, one providing the bass, and together they created all this stretch to the aromatic and flavor profile of the wines. And so it was really incredibly fortunate that those two were essentially the first two to come to this region. Many other clones have come and gone, many. Some with some success, some with none. The Dijon material came in the mid-'80s, through Raymond Bernard of the University of Dijon, and with Dave Alessine helping to make that happen. That Dijon material has provided interesting notes as well, now that they were getting some maturity in the vineyards. But still, I think we don't ever, most winemakers would not leave Wadensville and Pommard out of the picture. They both add so much. But even the Dijon material doesn't necessarily lend to a wine. Yeah.
Well, should we try the 16 now?
Yeah.
I felt like that Pommard was really rich and dark.
It was. Yeah.
This is not the same, but still great in the nose. Not as dark, not as rich.
Of course, here you have that influence of Wadensville, right?
Right.
And some 115, but a significant amount of Wadensville. A lot of complexity. I think you're getting notes, again, all up and down the scale, from low to high. Very beautiful color. We're seeing vibrant red, even blue, again, still.
Yeah, I feel like the 2016 has a lot of color. Do you think it's from the smaller berries that year?
Absolutely, you're correct. We did have, as you just mentioned, it was a year of small berries, and as a result, small crop. We were way down. From 17, we were probably down 40%.
Wow.
Mostly due to berry size, not really fertility. We had great fertility. Things all fertilized. It's just that eventually the berry size was so much smaller. We ended up with less crop.
Right, just Mother Nature.
But what it did, as our friends at home may know, when you have a smaller berry, it's more skin to juice. And all, the skin contains essentially all those things we love. In terms of color, aroma, and flavor. All of those constituents are in the skin, not in the pulp. The pulp is just water and sugar.
Right.
Of course, eventually it becomes alcohol, and people, they don't mind the alcohol, whatever, but the things that we care about, and when we're looking at wine that we opine about, will be not the alcohol.
Right.
It's about color and aroma and flavor. That's what we really truly care about. Those complexities that entertain us.
Absolutely.
Right?
So we're on to the 2015 vintage.
A big year too, like 17.
Right.
And thankfully, it was a big year. We've come to learn over the years how important that is, that in a hot year, you want to have a lot of crop. You want to, thank you, you're most welcome. We want to slow the plant down. And the only ability we have to slow things down is by having more crop, leaving that crop, making the vine work harder, longer to ripen that fruit. If you have a small crop in a hot year, it just races, and you end up with extremely high sugar levels way too quick, forcing an early harvest, and you don't get that time on the vine to get complexity. We want that time. We want that hang time. We want to push the season right to the edge of getting rained on. Those are our best years. I think the color has changed a little bit from those younger, a little bit. It's still beautiful. There's no brick of any kind. Still very, very healthy. Maybe not quite as blue as we saw in the prior, those prior two younger wines.
Yeah, it has a bit more age to it.
And with age comes softening, and a lot of the
comes beauty.
Always, and wisdom.
Oh, right.
Oh, with lots of wisdom, right? Okay. So it's in this wine. So with time, especially structure-wise, the tannins in the wine tend to soften. They become texturally far more enjoyable, really pleasurable on the palate.
Right.
Lots of complexity here. Just beautiful.
Absolutely.
And you get those secondary aromatics. The one thing that you don't have with the young wine, everything is very primal with the young wines. Those primary fruit qualities that you get from the vineyard. We don't start seeing this kind of display until you've been in the bottle. You know, for a period of time, you begin to get what we would call bottle bouquet, bottle age, where you get secondary development of what would be esters, perhaps, formation of aromatics that take place really slowly in wine, in the bottle. They come with age, and it's beautiful. You get all of these secondary qualities that create that great interest in the wine, the detail. You start to get all this detail. It's not just primary fruit. It's all of a sudden you get all of this detail. That's the benefit of aging wine.
Oh, sorry.
You want mine too?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I would like a little more.
All right, now
2014.
2014.
So the last one in your lineup.
Definitely a difference in color there. You
Yeah,
can see.
absolutely.
And the beauty of Pinot Noir is that you shouldn't care about color. It isn't important. Color's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, but density is not important. Density is not important. I can tell you that some of the greatest wines I've had of Pinot Noir, 30, 40 years old, stunning wines, perfectly kept in a perfect environment that had become, with age, almost clear. Almost clear. And you first open wines like that, and you go, "Oh my God, this is, this wine has probably lost everything." When in fact, all the aromas there, incredible amounts of aroma, incredible amounts of flavor. It has, density of color, especially with Pinot Noir, has nothing to do with quality necessarily. It really doesn't. It's about a lot of other things, a lot of other complexities and nuance that develop over time.
Well, by far, I feel like this one out of the entire lineup has more of a tobacco smoke, a lot of tobacco, and very smoky.
Yeah.
It's quite different than any of them.
Yeah, I think that is good on you. Yeah. Kind of almost like I get the tobacco, a leafy quality, forest floor quality, something. When like soil, I think when you think of, when people say earthy, so often earthy is misinterpreted or misunderstood as a descriptor. It shouldn't, to me, when I think of earthy in a good way, the good earthy means like healthy garden soil. If you've ever had a great garden with healthy soil, you take that soil, lift it to your nose, it smells fantastic.
But don't
smells
eat it, right?
rich. No, don't eat it. Unless you just really are into that, and that would be okay, I guess.
Some kids do.
Some kids are totally into it. But I would just, but it does smell great. Healthy soil smells awesome because it's aerated. It's got lots of oxygen in it. It's really fantastic and rich and complex, right? That's a good earthy, and that happens in Pinot Noir commonly. It's great. I love that in aged Pinot Noir when it has that healthy soil quality to the aromatic profile.
Absolutely.
I love that. I think it's very cool, and it's especially I think most often found in Pinot Noir. Yeah. Now the other side, some people think that the funky earthy, like when something smells funky, sulfur based, that's earthy. That's not earthy to me. That is in fact fault. That's not complementary. It's a fault. That's poor farming or poor winemaking. It's not okay. It's not attractive.
Right. Well, I hope you enjoy these wines. We're very excited that we got to taste them with you. If you are nearby in the area, we are doing free local deliveries to the Portland metro area. If you want to come by the tasting room and do a curbside pickup, we'll be here. We're offering a 25% discount on any case purchases that you would like to purchase with us, so give us a call and we're happy to help you. And we are also doing virtual tastings with other tasting flights. So if you loved this, then book a tasting with us.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And here's to you. Thanks for everything.
Cheers.
And to the club.